Hello Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for To Your Eternity, chapter 162. When we last left our heroes, Fushi spent a good deal of time pondering what it would mean if he took the guy in black's powers, if he took Satoru's abilities. Would he be able to create easy peace between humans and knockers, and cure, Gugu's face and Hyro's teeth, and give Echo the ability to talk, which, as I brought up in that video, was somewhat morally dubious given how much the pot-based communication is vital to her culture. And he pondered reviving every dead person he's ever met, which is a very dangerous game. Though he expressed some discomfort with the idea of bringing back the nameless boy and Joanne, because then who would he become? We don't really spend more time on that than just that one scene, because then we skip 6 months ahead to graduation day. As Fushi and Hana and Mizuha all graduate, spend one last day together. Yuki confesses and fails to get a reciprocation from Mizuha. He's all down in the dumps, especially because no one else seems terribly interested in joining the occult club until Fushi manifests a bunch of copies of the occult club newsletter that rains down on the population. We get this glasses-wearing boy looks at it with interest. I'm curious if he's going to become something of a character in this coming arc. But with that, graduation has come. Fushi is out of middle school. And we'll see what the future holds in chapter 162, right here like this, which does not have a part 1, implying that next week will be 163. But it opens with Fushi telling us straight up, I decided not to take the guy in black's powers. Okay. If this is not a 3 years later time skip, then that option will still be on the table. But for now, Fushi has decided against it. After all of that debating, he's decided no, he does not want the power. And he's on the phone with Hyro. I don't see any problem with that. You don't hear about knockers doing anything wrong. But Fushi tells him, maybe we just haven't noticed. And Hyro just questions, so what if they did? You're not going to be a god. So Hyro is saying, you're only one person, you can't control everything. You are not responsible for everything the knockers do. Which, for Fushi's mental health, is absolutely what he needs to hear. And Kai walks up to him, is that Fushi? And Hyro notes him, yes, and then turns back to Fushi. Well, I'll talk to you later. And Fushi tells him, yep, I'll be there as soon as I'm done with this. We don't know what that this is. But we see Hyro and Kai are taking a walk. It's great you got paid time off. So, how's the workshop? And Kai just tells him, things aren't as busy as they were back in the day. We only get a few enthusiasts every once in a while. I guess he's found some kind of blacksmithing store, or something like that. Some sort of replica medieval sword place to fit his interests. Which of course are not as busy as they would have been back in the Renville era. But Hyro just tells him, that sounds rough. What about you, Hyro? I'm not suited for these modern jobs. I'm still looking. And apparently, Fushi isn't going to school. He's helping out at Gugu's shop. It's been 4 years since we arrived here. Do you think we're fitting in? Okay. So, it's been another, 3-year time skip. So Satoru's deadline is passed. We're now in a time without anything even vaguely approaching a god. And then they pass by a horse's stable, and Hyro notes, hey there, Meiron. Did they finally come up with a name for the Pyoran horse? Or is Meiron a horse I've forgotten about? I'm going to do a quick, see if I can find it on a wiki search. And all that comes up is including results for Pyoran. So no, this might be the Pyoran horse, but I'm not sure. Oh yeah, because Kai then asks, someone named the horse? Yes, Fushi did. Meiran, eh? That's a nice name. He wanted it to be Ramen, but Aiko-san objected, so it was fudged a bit into Meiran. I see. I was not quite sure why Fushi was so intent on giving the horse a food name, because that came up a while back, and I'm not sure where that came from. But they arrive at the Aiko house. The Aoki house. Don't know what happened there. The Aoki house, and calls out, we're home, and we see, these might be March's playmates. They seem to be maybe 4th grade or so. I think March would be in 4th grade right now. with these like plush knockers they're beating someone with. Get up! Get to work! Shriek! And all the kids are like hitting Messar, and Hiro questions, "What are you doing, Messar?" "I'm not doing anything." Oh, is that that is March in like 4th grade March. Look at her, slowly growing up. "Girls, stop slaying that old man. Let's have a soda party." Is that what the kids are into these days? And then she sees the two of them. "Oh, welcome home, Kai-san and Hiro-san." And Hiro just laughs. "March-san, are these friends of yours?" And Aiko comes in. "Sorry about the commotion. They're having a slumber party today." And Aiko, she'd be in high school now, right? Because it's probably actually, hold up. I'm trying to think. Would it be 3 years since I'm trying to get the timeline straight in my head. I think it would, because when I laid it all out, I was like, if it's only been 4 years since they got here, it would be 3 years since the climax of the knocker incident, and when after that was Satoru's offer, where he said 3 years. And I believe it was right after that. So it would have like just been the 3-year deadline. And for some reason, trying to work out what grade Aiko is in is what put me in that headspace. Because she would have been a first year in middle school 3 years ago. So she would be a first year in high school now, which would be around 10th grade in America. Sorry about the commotion. They're having a slumber party today. So like she's older than we've even seen Yuki at this point. That also means that I think Yuki is a senior in high school, not quite college age. Though Mizuha and Hana would be college age, which is interesting. And Kai picks up a little like toy knockers. What are these? And Aiko tells him, "My brother had a local business make these stuffed knockers. They're 888 yen each, or 1,888 for a cushion." "Then you're selling them?" "Yes, over the internet." I guess Kai and Hiro have been like out of town for a while, which is why they don't know all this, and why we can use them as audience surrogates to set up this new time period. But I guess this is part of Yuki's plan to assimilate the knockers into society, to turn them into plushes before revealing they exist, I guess. And Kai and Aiko go to this empty room where we see just stacks of boxes. "Oh, then this is all your inventory?" "Yes." And Kai just looks around. "That's a lot of unsold merchandise." "No, it's not. They've been picked up on TV and my video streamers. They're selling pretty well now." And we see like some news reports. You hear about knockers a lot these days. "Ew, those things are disgusting." But that's the best part. But just like, not even looking at them as a species, just as the toys, they're famous in the urban legend community. I have one of those knocker cushions myself. When you hear that these creatures that were written about as legends in a 500-year-old book actually exist, doesn't it get you excited? Oh no, so they are still being presented as sort of real, which like would fit the fact that Renville does exist sort of in the cultural consciousness as this ancient historical incident. So I've always found like the way that modern society interacts with like the legends of the early era to be a really interesting part of the world building here that I feel like I kind of wish Oima explored a little more. But I do like it whenever we do get to bring it up. And Aiko shows Kai, "See? Wow, I'm not good with machines, so I didn't know." And Messar, they apparently are back in the main room, because they sure seem to be empty in page 4. But here they're back in the room with March's friends and Messar. "The world is learning about knockers, thanks to Yuki's initiative." And Aiko tells them, that is what he wants. Yeah, but... and then we cut to the occult club who are still hanging out with Hirotoshi. For some fucking reason. Tamaki and Senba and Yuki and that fucker Hirotoshi, who I still hate. As Yuki tells his friends and the fucker, "Yeah, but the problem is that almost no one believes it's true." And Fushi joins them. I should have mentioned this, that I saw on Best Bonus had a post translating the little blurb that Crunchyroll leaves out. That like the implication of the little like next time blurb we saw, or that we should have seen last week, was that Fushi had decided to help Yuki through Yuki's methods, to help Yuki with Yuki's goals about spreading knocker awareness. Anyway, Fushi then says, sorry I'm late. What are we talking about now? Hey Fushi, we were just talking about the response to the video that we uploaded to the internet. You know how we're introducing knockers to the world on our video channel? The latest one was about how they can fish with just a single finger. And we see, I'm assuming there's Michi who's fishing with a single finger. The response was great, but everyone says it's CGI. They don't believe it's real. Here's also a question. Like, has Fushi been transforming during these 3 years? Or does he still look like a middle schooler, despite the fact that, like, I mean, not despite really much of anything, especially because he's not really living as a high schooler. He's living as, like, Gugu's assistant in the shop, which also means, I guess, Gugu has come back to Yanome, which we did not know already, unless it's, like, another Fushi body over in Taknaha. I don't know. The fun thing about these first part of a time skip chapters is wondering just what the hell all has changed and sort of playing around with those questions. So I'm spending some time on that. Everyone says it's CGI, they don't believe it's real. And Fushi reacts, CGI? And Tamaki tells him, you know Michi-chan appears in our videos of the knocker no-no. Everyone seems to pick up that she's friendly, but as a character instead of as a knocker. And Fushi doesn't quite get the issue. What's the problem? And Hirotoshi, who's still alive, has not been killed off screen, tragically. They're treated the same way as ghosts or cryptids. And Yuki tells him, we want to get across that they're real. If I could just talk to the knocker and me, we can make friends. And I could appear as Knocker Man in our videos. Right, because he does still have that knocker that can kill him at any moment. That's a little bit of foreshadowing of like a Chekhov's gun situation that I imagine we'll get to later. But also, Yuki has not made any contact with the thing yet. He's just been sitting dormant in Yuki's body. Tamaki reacts, that'd be so cool. But Senba questions, wouldn't they just praise our special effects again? And Hirotoshi looks at some like messages on his phone. I kind of figured, everyone wants to see Nono-chan's face. And Yuki questions, what about it? And Hirotoshi questions, why don't you have her talk on camera without a mask like everyone wants? They might believe it's real then. But Yuki protests, no way, Hirotoshi. Why do you think we're hiding her face in the first place? And Fushi reminds him, yeah, the people around her don't know that the current Michi is a knocker. We don't know what would happen if they found out. And we see the like baby picture of Sumika and Michi. Right, because Michi's knocker entered her when she was like first born, right? That's how it happened. So there never really has been a Michi. But Michi Knocker looks at this framed picture of her as a baby with Sumika. And Sumika questions, Michi, you're going to a friend's house today, ain't ya? Tomorrow you don't know when her club stuff's going to be over, and I gotta meet some friends tonight. So be sure to take a key with you. And Michi tells her, okay, then I better get going. And as Michi's like leaving, it looks like they're not really in an orphanage anymore, like they're in an apartment. All of, Sumika has saved up her funds and got them all like an actual apartment. But Michi hears a scream, ah! And she turns back, whoa, what's wrong? And Sumika leans out the door to yell at her, hey, we're going to buy Satoru a birthday present tomorrow, so don't make other plans, okay? Okay, got. And then we hear this whiff effect come from her bag. Oh, no, not from her bag. She missed the step and fell all the way down. Oh, I see the problem. I see what could happen. Because she's a knocker, Michi can heal very easily. But Sumika runs down the stairs to her. That must have hurt. You probably hit your head on head or something. Let's go to the hospital. But Michi looks at her hands, and we can see the hands are already starting to heal. Oh, I'm fine. And she just runs off. I'm not hurt at all, so I'm gonna run. Not so fast. But Sumika watches her run off. Dang, Michi used to be so frail, but not anymore. And then she sort of thinks to herself, wait, should I be more worried? Nah, it's probably fine. I'm not sure that this, barely older than a teenager at this point, given the time skip, is really necessarily equipped to be a mother to a bunch of orphans, but, she's trying her best. She's not doing the perfect job, but she's trying her best to be some sort of maternal figure for them. Though I don't know, it sure does look like we're going to see pretty soon Sumika finding out about Michi. That seems to be what this story is building towards, with all these little, though I said similar things about the gang finding out and reacting poorly to the knocker's return, the fact that Fushi hid that from them, and they all handled that pretty well. So maybe I'm wrong here. Anyway, we see though that Michi dropped her key in the fall, which gives Sumika a reason to chase after Michi. Her key, and she calls after her, Michi, you forgot your key. Let's get you checked out at the hospital first. But Michi is at Hirotoshi's place, because for some reason he's still around, which is not going to end well if Sumika comes by right now. But Yuki sees her. Hey, good to see you, Michi-chan. We were just talking about you. We thought it'd be a good idea if you talked on video without a mask or anything. Oh, but I know it's a lot to ask, especially since Sumika-san and the others don't know. Here it is, she just found out that the real Michi-chan died, and you and Knocker replaced her. And Sumika's right outside the door, and she hears that. I'll say one thing. Well, that is a good plot hook of Sumika sort of learning about Knockers and what happened to Michi, and maybe through there learning a little bit more about Satoru, even though I'm not quite sure that's relevant anymore, because I think Satoru has lost his memories by now. That's a bit of a strained way to say it. You know, the whole... Like, I could expect him to say, especially since Sumika-san and the others don't know that you're a knocker, like, that would be enough. But the fact that Yuki goes on the whole, that the real Michi-chan died, and you, a knocker, replaced her, just sounds... It sounds forced and labored and not how anyone really talks. So while the hook of Sumika finding out is really, really good, the way the narrative goes about it there is, like, not great. It could be done a whole lot better than that line. But anyway, let's just take a look at what little snippets we get of this new future. You know, Kai and Hyro are being, you know, struggling minimum wage workers, which, like, that's a vibe. That's a whole ass vibe for them. March is growing up well in the Aoki home. She has a group of friends, which I think these might be the same girls we saw teased in, like, 151, maybe. Though 3 years on, they, like, get along much better than they did back then. I'm gonna see if I can scroll through 151 real fast and, like, see if these are most likely the same kids. Because that's, like, my best guess as to who these people are. Let me see if I can find it. Oh yeah, because they initially make fun of her, and then she has the whole thing with Memori. Right. Where is the initial scene? Yeah, these are definitely the same girls. So it's good that March is, like, made nice with them, that they're all getting along much better now. It's cute. They're kids, and they're growing up well. At least from what little we can see. And then we come back to sort of one of the big lingering plot threads from the last arc, is that the knockers are still unknown, and Yuki still wants to make them known. Wants to add, you know, both because of his love of the occult and also his ideals of peace, wants to bring them into the present. And the best way he has, or make them accepted parts of the public consciousness. And the best way to do that is the knocker who is openly on his side with Michi. But, you know, Michi has a very protective maternal figure in her life who might not really want that. And while the moment of Sumika learning that is very kind of labored, it still is an absolutely great hook to sort of create a big conflict to open this arc. And especially with Misaha's father's knocker still sort of hanging off in the background, waiting to become a threat again, there's plenty of intrigue to go around as we start this new era. So all in all, there's a lot of fun here, a lot of good little mysterious, or a lot of good plot hooks. That's really what to say. It's a new era, and we're diving right into some good plots that I can't wait to see how those plots play out. So with that said, I'm going to leave this video off here. Hope you'll enjoy the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe, or, you know, do whatever makes you happy, you know? And as always, your life is your own, okay? Bye!